welcome to Wandering Monster, the monster manual of podcasts in America's test table. My name is John, the McGee of Splatterpunk Baltusberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
I'm Mr. Paschke.
And hi, everyone. I'm Gabrielle Rabinowitz, one of the co-creators of Ma Nishtana.
Hello, I'm Ben. I fell from the moon and I LARP with children in Kyoto, Japan. Hello.
I was going to say, we are currently also Japan's test table tonight, which is exciting.
Going international.
So there's a couple cool things about gaming, right? First and foremost, it's collaborative storytelling. Verbal storytelling has been humanity's way of communicating, recording history, entertainment, and to put it in kind of both chaos magic and Jewish terms, participating in the ongoing creation of the world, right? And it's one of the really fascinating things in the Book of Bereshit, usually known as Genesis. It is postulated by some that when it says that Adam, which means mankind, not man, is created in the image of Hashem in the holy, that image is not of like a physical thing, but as an active participant in the ongoing story of creation and building the universe that we live in. And for me, gaming does that, right? We get to escape, but we get to build bonds. We get to create the world we want to live in. And sometimes we get to destroy the world we don't want. It's really kind of a beautiful thing that we boil down to pretending to be elves and fairies and wield swords. But it really is quite beautiful in many ways. You all know, if you're familiar with me, if you're familiar with my work, you'll know that I spend a lot of time writing about stabbing bigots and about Jewish topics. So whenever I see I need to figure out why my camera is all wonky. There we go. Whenever I see Jewish projects on crowdfunding, I always go kind of crazy for it. It always makes me extremely happy. I've backed quite a few over the years, and so the other day I was on Kickstarter and I found a game called Ma Nishtana. Why is this night different? Which is a Haggadah game, essentially. And I got pretty excited. I sent it to Ian, who is not with us tonight. Not like he's not with us. Like yeah, because he didn't get hit by a he didn't get hit by a truck or anything. But Ian's in chat saying that he is okay.
He's still young.
Okay, good. Well, it's nice to hear from him from the great beyond. It's good of him to communicate with us.
So I was very excited. I sent it to Ian, who then reached out to Gabrielle and Ben to ask if they would like to come on and share their game, and they said no, so we got someone else in. No. They, of course, said yes, they are here, and we are going to dive in and explore Ma Nishtana, and then at the end, we'll talk a little bit how you can back it, how you can get it, and about some of the weird ritual and faith-based related stuff that some of our writers are doing. So that's the intro. Gabrielle, Ben, why don't y'all take it from here?
Amazing. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I feel like, you introduced our game better than I could. So thank you for that. And I don't know, Ben, is there anything you wanted to add before we get into actually starting the game?
Yeah, I'm just so happy to be here. Wow. This is such a great group, and everyone's beards and are fabulous and goatees. It's oh my gosh. I had a beard in high school, but that's because I was a gay boy trying to pretend to be straight.
You had a literal beard.
Well, a girl, so that was my beard. And so
you made the pun, and
John and I have what we would call utility beards. Like we are men who look awful clean shaven. Like I don't have the face to be, I have to hide as much of it as I possibly can. Glasses, beard.
My daughter wept last time I shaved.
Yeah, she really did. She was and John was crushed. He posted this picture, looked so sad and so barefaced, and like
I feel like
the world's oldest baby.
I am Samson. If you shave my beard, I lose all of my power.
Yes,
just confidence. Like all my confidence is gone.
Fabulous. Gabrielle, so we have this wonderfully successful. I'm so amazed at how successful our campaign is. And like the support from the community, and I'm just so happy that like with the kind of the levels that we've hit in the Kickstarter, like we are able to bring on Jewish designers to write essays for us, and we are able to produce like these little backdrops for like Exodus. So if you want to do the story, but like on a spaceship, right? Or on a planet. Like Gabrielle just wrote this wonderful backdrop called "Let My Planet Go," right? Based on a novel by Ursula K. Le Guin. It's like I think we're accepting proposals for those.
Yeah,
still.
If anyone who's listening or currently participating in this chat can think of another setting, yeah, that includes you.
I don't know. Do I know any Jewish game designers? I don't know.
So actually, well, Ben kind of talked about two things at once. The essays are already commissioned, but the backdrops can be written by anyone, Jewish or non-Jewish. Those are totally open. We're actually looking for like different kinds of settings that are not Jewish, although if they are Jewish, that's also okay. But we'd love to hear like any kind of alternate setting for the fight from oppression, right? The fight for freedom. And we know that has happened and can happen and does happen across so many different experiences. So that's what we're really inviting right now, people to share other circumstances, imagined or real, historical, personal or not, where this kind of story could play out. And we have $50 for each person whose setting we choose to include in the guidebook. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. And congratulations on the great success so far. Like being able to use that money to promote further development in the community is just wonderful. And I'm so glad to hear you guys are doing that.
Yes. By the way, none of our guests or my cohorts can see, but I pulled some of the art from the Kickstarter. So if you're wondering what the book looks like, what kind of thing you're going to see in the book, this gorgeous art is
Katrin Dareem, our artist. I cannot she's the reason why that I think that this Kickstarter is a success, because her art is 100%. So gorgeous.
I'm not saying anything bad about the game design or the concept, but it is a stone cold fact that the art sells TTRPG Kickstarters. That's why when we started designing GLA, I looked for really good artists first, almost before the mechanics will come, but art is important.
And we spent a lot of time looking at artists and reaching out, and Katrin is just so generous, right, in her time and her creativity and her thoughts, and she truly thought about what our project means, and she does these wonderful illustrations of classical and mythic figures. And so if you're interested, please reach out to her. I'm not sure if commissions are open right now. They may be. And
we have her booked for a couple months at least.
So yeah, thank you so much for having us on.
So there's I'll talk a little bit more later at the end, if there's time, about some other really cool places to find resources if you're interested in Judaism beyond the Golem, as I like to call it, Jewish folklore and mythology that sometimes escapes the mainstream. So one thing I wanted to mention real quick is I've been very cognizant this year of the dialogue between Jews and Christians with Christians saying like, "Hey, Jesus celebrated Passover, so I should also celebrate Passover." It's like, well, no, Jesus would not have. But that is a long essay for another time. However, this game is specifically using the Passover story to discuss the fight against oppression, the fight against Charles. What's the word when someone abuses another person for gain?
Exploitation.
Exploitation. Thank you. Yes, I knew you would. I knew you would have that. Being a lover of exploitation. No.
Yeah.
A fighter of exploitation films maybe.
Yeah. Well.
So this game is specifically for anyone to explore those themes and explore the themes of growing together. It's a common Passover, a common theme, a sermon of Passover is that so long as one person labors under slavery, oppression, marginalization, everyone does. Everyone is subject to it. And honestly, like, I could spend the next 2 hours sermonizing, or we could play a game, maybe.
Yeah? Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
I got my Passover rum here.
Yeah, welcome. We're so happy to be gathered here to play Ma Nishtana together. I think you all have the Ashcan version, in which case we're going to be starting on page 57 printed, 59 of the PDF. And that's the first ritual. So the first ritual is Kadesh, welcome. And so I'll start. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. We're gathered here to tell anew the tale of the Hebrew exodus from Egypt, share in the fight for freedom, and discover the power of collective action. So yeah, what we just were talking about. And we're going to start by just chatting a little bit about our expectations and tone for the game. We've already talked about this a little bit, so it doesn't have to be a long conversation. But this is where we all check in and just say, like, hey, is it okay if do we want to be a little silly with this? Do we want to be solemn with this? Like, what tone are we interested in playing together? And I know we were chatting a little bit about that earlier.
For me, we just got through the actual Passover, like, a couple weeks ago. Time is meaningless. I am a little overwrought on seriousness. I would prefer something a little bit over the top, personally. How speaks the rest of y'all?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Wonderful. All right, bring it on. I'm here for it. Amazing. And so then the other thing, we also already know our timing. We know we have a couple hours here together, so we know we're going to be doing kind of a bite-sized sort of slice of the game, not the full session, which is cool. And so as you read the book, you'll notice there are Hebrew words in there. You'll notice that the word God is spelled G-D. We do that to kind of follow the Jewish tradition. You can read that as God. You can read that as Hashem. Whatever your preferred way of reading that word is totally fine. Those are the few things. And the other thing I want to talk about is the safety mechanics we have for playing this game. So we have at our disposal, the X card or symbol, which can always be deployed to say, like, actually, I'm not comfortable with something that just happened. We also have our own mechanic we brought into this game called wait, which is really flexible. You say it to just say, like, hey, everyone, I have a question, either about how the game is played or about something that just happened, or I have a suggestion, right? We're going to be co-creating a lot of what happens in this story. So wait is also a way to make a suggestion. If you're not comfortable saying it, you can also just make a W.
As for this show, Wandering Monster, while we are not a family-friendly podcast, child-friendly podcast,
no,
we do have lines, specifically, and I don't think this needs to be said to y'all, but for the audience, one line that we've established is no sexual violence. Again, don't think that's an issue with y'all in this game, but that is a line we have where it's just like, nope, doesn't exist in the games, doesn't exist in the fiction we're doing. So I think that might be the only one.
Well, we're gonna get. I'm really glad you mentioned that because lines and veils is exactly what we're gonna do next. So that's perfect, and we can already capture that one. Before we move on to lines and veils, I wanted to give everyone a chance to practice. Wait. So I'm gonna count to 3, and then either say it or do the symbol. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Wait.
There you go.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait.
So now everyone knows how easy it is.
At LARP camp, like the kids used to do this like gang sign that was like wizard, but like with your hands like this.
Does this count? Cute. Is this enough, or is that
this sure? Do it. That's okay.
I know that
as long as we
like
can interpret
that reminds me of like my high school back in the day had something like that because we were the Woods Cross Wildcats.
Ooh,
so, yeah.
The alliteration is strong with your high school.
Yeah.
You just riled at that.
I sure did. I'm still trying to find the page with my thing on it. Sorry. All right.
Yeah.
We're good.
So we're now on page 58 of the Ashcan, 60 of the Ashcan PDF. And so, yeah, our actual first ritual for this, the ritual action for this ritual is to actually do our lines and veils. So we just started. We have a game sheet that we're all looking at, sort of a Google sheet. And you'll notice on the leftmost or second to leftmost tab is the lines and veils tab. So you can go in there and just add any more that we haven't already mentioned. Or if you're not able to find that easily, you can put it in the chat here, or if you're comfortable saying it out loud, just so that we all are on the same page.
Yeah, does everyone have access to the Google sheet that we've shared? It's just different from a Google Doc. Okay.
We do, but interesting time. I think this is a fine time to talk about accessibility. Certain members of our troupe have some trouble reading, especially things that are on a screen. And, you know, other members might suffer from, say, dyslexia, you know, things that make it difficult to read, especially live, and put pressure on them. And so if anyone just doesn't want to be a ritual leader, if anyone wants to, or ritual guide, sorry, if anyone wants to pass the buck, so to speak, that's A-okay.
Always. Yeah. And same thing with our lines and veils here. If you're unable to read or don't want to read the Google sheet, you can always put it in the chat here or just say it out loud.
Yep.
Gabrielle,
my personal veil is gore. So like I'm okay with violence and things happening, but I don't like really explicit descriptions of gore.
Do not read my books and understood.
Yeah. So I'll put that one on there. Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can always add more later as the game goes. Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
I'll put a veil, so it's like it can happen in the world, but I just don't want to roleplay it, like pandemic and virus.
Now, Ben, aren't we playing a game about a bunch of plagues?
I mean, plagues can be interpreted very differently.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get creative. We're gonna have to get creative and think outside our current plague we're all experiencing.
Okay, all right. I'll do my best.
We've already gotten you. That one's old news.
I sympathize with that veil very much. Having become an indoor cat since the coming of the thingamajig. Anyway, yeah.
All right, Bernard or Patchkey, anything you would like to add to the list of things that we don't want?
The worse the pun, the better is kind of a rule of thumb for this show. Just so everyone knows, dad jokes and bad jokes is kind of our stock in trade. So brace yourself for some of those.
Wonderful, big fan.
Excellent.
I will be X-carding all of your puns. All right.
That didn't happen.
Okay. In that case, I will close this ritual, and I'm going to pass the role of ritual guide to Ben. Take it away for Magid.
Okay. We now take turns. those who want to, reading aloud portions of the story of Exodus to establish a common reference for the story we will tell. So I'll start, and then Gabrielle, do you want to take it up?
Sure.
And then John?
Sure.
Would that be okay? Okay, sounds good. Many, many years ago, the children of Israel thrived in the land of Egypt. But there came to be a new Egyptian king, a pharaoh, who saw in the Hebrew people a threat. They did not worship him or his gods, so the pharaoh bound the Hebrew people with chains and drove them with the lash. He oppressed them with harsh labor. Even still, the pharaoh feared the strength of the Hebrew people. He decreed that all Hebrew boys be executed, lest they one day rise up in arms against him. Many hid their sons to no avail. However, one family did willingly give up their child, not to the pharaoh's enforcers, but to the river Nile. A woman swaddled her baby brother in a papyrus basket, whispered a small blessing, and offered him to the waters.
Downstream, another young woman bathed in the shallows, golden bracelets clinking. She heard a mewling cry from the reeds beside her and waded deeper in to investigate. She unwrapped the wriggling bundle and gasped. She had not yet borne a son, and she knew that no matter what her royal father said, this child was hers. Gathering the baby in her arms, she cooed, Moses, a fine name for a prince. Growing up in Pharaoh's palace, Moses was ever grateful for his life of leisure. His mother, the princess, shielded him from Pharaoh's worst outbursts and never failed to remind him of his luck in escaping an early grave. Moses strove to live up to her expectations, but he stumbled through the days just as he stumbled over his words. One day, Moses happened upon a show of cruelty that broke through his haze. An Egyptian man was beating a Hebrew child laboring in his field, unyielding until he heard the crack of bone. Enraged, Moses slew the Egyptian man and fled. And I'll pass it over to John.
Moses did nothing wrong there. In his exile, Moses won the hand of a Midian woman and started a family, working as a shepherd for her father's flocks. Many years passed until Moses came across a bush in the desert, bursting with buds of fire. As Moses tread near, the flames licked their way along the branches and blossomed into orange and blue, but the bush did not crumble. A voice emerged from the crackle and hissed, Moshe, I am the one true God. I have heard the cries of the enslaved. You must return to Egypt, not as a prince, but as a child of Israel. Free your people. Deliver them to a new land. I don't know why God sounds like that. I apologize.
I was going to say we have to hire you for the audiobook.
I liked it. I think you should keep going. You're doing so good.
It was kind of a Simba.
Yeah, it was a real.
Yeah.
I think
definitely Lion King.
It depends on the bush. Like, what is that wood that's burning? It's like really has this like really rustic sound.
Moshe returned to Egypt and reunited with his siblings. With the help of his brother Aaron, he challenged the Pharaoh. Free our people or face a wrath far greater than your own, they demanded. As proof of the power of the one true God, Aaron's staff transformed into a serpent, then snapped and spat venom at the king. But the Pharaoh had seen such minor magics before. He rejected the Hebrew's suit.
In retaliation, God brought plagues of blood, boils, disease, locusts, darkness to awe the people and lay waste to their false gods. However, with each plague, the Pharaoh's heart hardened. He heaped further pain upon the Hebrews. Finally, God sent an angel of death over the city. He warned the true believers to mark their doors in lamb's blood, lest they too succumb. In one sigh, the lives of all the firstborn sons in Egypt were snuffed out, save those whose homes had heeded God's word. The next morning, Pharaoh freed the Israelites. I will not have them in my sight, he sobbed. My own boy's soul has been snatched away. Let the Hebrews revel in their freedom for now. So the Hebrew people fled, leaving behind what they could not carry. Soon, however, Pharaoh sent his armies to overtake the Israelites and drive them into the sea. But God is good. He gave his people passage across the Red Sea, crashing the waves over their pursuers and guided them onward to a promised land of milk and honey. Consider the relevance of ritual, the terror of asymmetrical power structures, the search for a home of one's own. These themes will hold true in our story as they have for every telling of the tale.
Wait. I'm going to use my wait power a little bit differently. I want to mention a piece of Agata here that I think is pertinent. There's a story that when the Red Sea crashed down on the Egyptians, the angels threw like a wicked banger. They're like, yeah, woo! And God interrupts them and says, what are you doing? They're like, yeah, the Egyptians all died, the Hebrews got away. It's like, no, the Egyptians are my children too. And the story is that, like, and we do this later, I don't know in this, but in the Passover ritual, is recognizing the pain of not just the Hebrews, the Israelites, but of the Egyptians who suffered in that time as well. Done with my waiting.
Oh, that's really like pertinent and true. And like, for the folks who are on the Ashcan copy, you know, anyone in chat, you know, you could download this copy for free from itch.io. But if there's like two types of rituals, one that is in person, or like, you know, it's like the traditional rituals of the Seder, and then one is like an alternate ritual that's more abstract and it's better or more accessible for online play and people who do not feel as comfortable doing the traditional like rituals of the Seder. So like for now we're doing the alternate ones, which is wherever you are, have a toast to the gathering of friends and the opportunity to celebrate.
I am toasting my friend Charles Bernard, who has persevered to stay positive and a loving friend during this time of hardship. To Charles. And if I drink a full cup every time, it's going to end badly for everyone.
I'll raise a glass right back at my good friend John, who's been there for me the entire time, and you know, been a solid friend and a good guy to get to know, and has enriched my life greatly, spiritually as well as, you know, in terms of the horror business. So, here's to John.
I have left my tea in the kitchen accidentally, but I want to give this metaphorical toast with the pinky up to Charles for his wonderful pink headphones, and also Gabrielle for just going on this journey with me. It's been difficult at times, and the sand has been hot, but you've been really chill, and I appreciate that. So a toast.
Yeah, I'll toast right back to you, Ben, for like, I think making this game actually happen. Right? I was like, wouldn't it be fun to make a Passover game? And Ben was like, no, but let's actually make it. So I think without that, like, no, let's actually make it, we would not be here today. So
every group needs a Ben. Everyone needs a. Let's actually do this though.
I close this ritual and pass the role of ritual guide to John. Would you like to do it?
Sure.
Or should I pass it back to Gabrielle?
I can absolutely take on this. We cleanse this space to start our journey. Everyone clean something. Just clean it. Charles, you're a dirty boy. Go ahead and clean. I'm cleaning
washing these hands right here. Yep.
I am cleaning my horseradish spoon. Because
getting that ready for some hot
you don't want to eat your horseradish with a dirty spoon.
You don't. Look, it's going to be painful enough as is.
Well, the thing about horseradish is it kind of cleanses the spoon as it goes on to it.
It's going to cleanse my sinuses. That's for dang sure.
That's where it's going to start the cleansing.
I went through a YouTube rabbit hole the other day because I was looking up like what's the best way to like brush your teeth, because I feel like I was not doing my best, most optimal job. And I'm like, I've been realized for like 26 years, I've been doing it all wrong. Like, like you should like start on the back molar and then like go around the front and then go around the back and do like not like a brush, but like a wiggle on the tooth. And like at a 45-degree angle, it's just like, oh wow, to get that bacteria. I don't know. I've been on a cleaning streak this week.
Can you tell the difference? Does your mouth feel cleaner?
Yeah, my gums bleed.
So interesting thing.
So you know it's working.
A couple of great things. You know, the Jewish people have, for 6,000 years, really had ritual cleaning as part of the religion before it was Judaism, right? And that has allowed us to survive a lot of plagues, a lot of disease, and unfortunately, that survival has in turn sparked suspicion.
Shouts to Jeff Oliver's Scapegoated, which is
coming out soon.
Available from our Gotta Try It Jewish imprint, which is about a terrible situation where an epidemic spreads from fainting goats to people, and the only people mysteriously not affected are Jewish people.
And the protagonist is a fainting goat scientist.
A quirky goat scientist, which is like my favorite sentence I think that I've heard this year so far. Quirky
but
goat
obviously,
scientist.
cleaning is also cleansing ourselves of the emotional burdens that we carry into the Passover ritual, or any ritual, anything spiritual. We want to come in clean with an open mind, open heart, and empty stomach, as the chairman of Iron Kitchen would say. We're going to take turns reading the descriptions from the character playbooks below and consider a character whose path we wish to walk. So I'm going to go ahead.
I have a suggestion. My suggestion is that in the interest of time, we just read the descriptions or describe the characters we already kind of know we want, since I know we've done a little bit of pre-choosing.
I love it. So we're going to go in order of the camera. Mr. Bernard, Mr. Paschke, would you like me to read your characters?
If you don't mind.
Sure, why not?
Great. So I'm going to read for a minute here. I'm going to be playing Aaron, the brother of Miriam and Moses. I am 3 years older than Moses, and a lifetime apart. Raised as a slave in Egypt, I rise each day to hard labor and cruel punishment. Yet I resist. I am unafraid to speak up to anyone, regardless of class or station, if it means lifting the voices of others. Everyone knows who I am. I am a holy man, with a rod that Hashem has imbued with great gifts. I speak truth to power, and I never know when I've gone too far. Charles, Mr. Bernard, you'll be playing Moshe. You grew up in Pharaoh's court, far away from the agonies that your fellow Hebrews endure. But you finally saw the truth, defying Pharaoh's will by killing a slave master, very on brand for you, Charles, that you found beating a Hebrew charge. God speaks to you through angels, the environment, and sometimes directly. You, on the other hand, are heavy of tongue and ineloquent. Not like you at all. You stumble over the simplest of greetings. And finally, Mr. Paschke, you are playing Pharaoh. You are the lord and ruler of the land of Egypt, newly ascended to the throne. Your father was revered as kind and just, but this is a new age. You know that the Hebrews are a threat to be ground down, as a resource to be exploited. You will spare no cruelty to bend them to your will. The only thing you can't break is their foolish faith. You worship many gods, so many gods, and each have their uses. Your daughter, bless her soft, weak little heart, has a tendency to take in orphans and to raise them as her own. You let her, for they may prove the most useful of all.
I love how actively Disneyfied malevolent this Pharaoh is. It's great. It's
the evil beard.
perfect.
He was the first Elon Musk. He's the first Jeff Bezos. It's fine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ben, do you know which one you want?
I don't know. Tell me what you want, Gabrielle, and I'll
I
bounce
think
off
I'm
you.
going to play Miriam. I haven't played Miriam in a while.
Yeah, I'll be Bitcha.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the other go-to. So I'll read Miriam's. Sister to Moses and Aaron. You are the first woman prophet and Moses' older sister. You are a singer of songs and a player of music. Your songs inspire others to imagine a better future, but do you see what truly lies ahead? God shows you visions and signs of what is to come. Now it falls to you to guide your people forward, even if some aren't listening and others would rather you stay silent.
You or I am Bitya, the princess of Egypt. The height of my status is matched only by the breadth of my kindness. I am intimate with the waters of Egypt, and I live amongst the threats that lurk beneath the surface all around me. While I owe my lifestyle to my royal pedigree, I know that my family is not based in blood, but is chosen and sometimes found. The ties that I have woven will be tested as I am pulled between my adopted child and the living God, the Pharaoh, the one who has given me everything I know.
Now we share which character we are particularly drawn to, which we have done. We fill out the character playbooks, which audience, just use your imagination that we're doing that. Like, you don't want to sit here. You don't want to sit in silence while each of us scribble down
Theater
on
of the
paper.
mind.
Theater of the mind.
Welcome to the paperwork channel where we fill out paperwork with you.
Next, we're doing taxes. When everyone is done, we will introduce our characters and ask questions of each other to learn more. Look, I'm going to close this ritual and pass the ritual guide to Gabrielle.
Great. So for this one, everyone should be familiar with the moves for your character, which you can see in your either in the character section of this ashcan or in the Google Sheet, whatever is more convenient for you, because you may want to use them in our scenes.
I could read aloud if anyone
let
wants.
us know what you prefer. Yeah.
There's a link in that. I didn't realize there were links. So there we go.
Yeah.
So is this real quick? Is this based on the apocalypse?
Powered by the apocalypse, yeah. So we are powered by the apocalypse, if that's what you mean. Also based on like the apocalypse we're living in the world right now.
It's very funny. It's very good for the story of Exodus to be powered by the apocalypse. I'm a big fan of this.
The thing is that there's no dice, right? There's no mechanics.
There's no
it's
dice.
Just like it's like basically from McGay, Baker, and Vincent. Like we're just taking the language of when something this happens, right? Yeah. So like for example, Pharaoh. It's like when someone challenges you, you can like make them pay, and like you can imprison them, humiliate them, take away what they hold dear, like basically anything you want. And then if you feel good about it, you can answer a question that kind of like deepens the plot. It's like, what do you lose in exchange? And so these are there's like a debate between Gabrielle and I right now about like whether this is like they're truly essential to the game. And I think we're presenting it because it is essential, at least to the ashcan copy. But if people don't feel comfortable looking at like a page on the internet, like I could describe what you can do and you can just remember it however you want to.
I want to point out that one of my moves is beat someone up. So watch your asses. Pharaoh.
I will take everything that you hold dear. Yeah, I'm sticking to that. That's going to be the Pharaoh's voice.
It's so good.
100% committed on this.
That's really great.
I love it.
So I'm just gonna quickly demonstrate what can come out of a character playbook, and then everyone else can choose to do this or not if they want to. So for example, for Miriam, I have an instrument, right? I'm a musician, and we have some possible suggestions in the playbook. One of which I've just chosen, which is a tambourine made of broken mirrors, right? That's my musical instrument. So we have these prompts in there to
Miriam,
So I was
where
singing,
do your
I was
Go, go,
singing
go.
Boulevard of Broken Dreams, except Tambourine of Broken Mirrors. Look, I'm very funny, is
Mirrors.
the thing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the yeah.
Where do your visions appear to you,
Um,
Miriam?
yeah, my visions appear to me in a thorny place, which is, I think, a like the sort of forest. I don't know if there's a forest in Egypt, but we'll just say there is. Sort of like the scrub, the desert scrub, maybe like the place that people don't really go because it's not really very inviting. There's not a lot of food there. No one really lives there. It's just
So you get your
a thorny
you get your
place.
visions in Azrael.
See, I was
Pretty
gonna
much,
say
yeah.
Wyoming, but okay.
I went Book of Watchers with it. It's fine.
Yeah. And that's another selection from the possible prompts for where Miriam sees her visions.
Okay.
That's
So
really
those
cute.
are there for you if you want to use them to kind of help kind of fill out your character at your disposal.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
I'm wondering,
So
Miriam,
now that
your visions appear to you in a thorny place. Like,
Mhm.
when was the first time you went to that thorny place?
I think that it was when I knew that we were going to be parting with Moses, my brother. When I knew that he could not stay in our family anymore. I don't know if it's going to be like the full canon of like all baby boys have to be killed. I think maybe what do you think, Ben? Like, what do you think happened? Maybe Moses knows.
Yeah, maybe Moses knows. And we can find out,
Yeah.
like in play.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
know that Moses was. We had to give up my brother, and that was what prompted me. I was distraught, and that was the first time. And I had a vision that I would see him again.
I hope it comes true.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling it might. So I think we can. I'll actually check in with people. Is everyone ready to go into some scenes with these characters, or does anyone want more time to peruse their moves and their?
I had a brief question. So, is Pharaoh that was like, "Hey, kill all the kids, because why not? It'll be fun." Was that me, Pharaoh, or my dad, Pharaoh?
Great question. So, yeah, the story we read together is one version of the story, but now we're kind of about to retell it. So it could be that your dad did that. It could be that you did that. It could be that no one did that. We are just now about to decide.
Okay.
So what do you think? What do you think? Like, what would you, Pharaoh, have done versus what would your father, the Pharaoh, have done?
I just don't understand why he did that. It was just a lot of death. It's senseless. They're perfectly good slaves. He could have just sold them all off.
There we go. Yeah.
It's true though. I'll break in. Actually, like Moses can share a secret, I guess, but not that we're necessarily in play. But I was going down a rabbit hole because of something I'm writing about. Something that the Ottoman Turkish Empire imposed on some of their subject peoples called a child levy. And like, especially the children of nobles were basically just like, those are ours now. And they raised them to be soldiers. Like, they were great soldiers because they were taught to be soldiers from the time that they were like, tiny. And they had no loyalty to anybody except for the Sultan, because they were not allowed to know who their family was or whatever. And yeah, so that's historically not unprecedented. So I'm gonna say we should go with the all those babies died version of the story.
Oh, because I was fully bought into this whole like Moses the soldier, but whatever you guys want to do.
I think it's I think it's interesting if this Pharaoh is not the inciting Pharaoh, is not the one who actually broke the hey, the Israelites helped us one, because that highlights institutionalized oppression. You know, however many generations down of like, well, this is how it's been. Like, sure, the Hebrews are people, but like they've always been this, and we feed them, and that makes it okay. And I think that's more interesting than a mustache twirling Disney villain. Sorry, Ben. I know you like I know you like the Hades version of. Pharaoh.
I know. I want the gay coded villain. You know what I mean?
My problem with Hades isn't that he's.
I mean, he can be
It's that
both.
he's a villain. He was like Hades is like the chillest of the Greek gods.
Yeah. Wasn't in that Hercules Disney movie, wasn't he voiced by James Woods?
Don't ruin this for us.
I know.
See,
every time I'm like James Woods.
Charles, wait. Sorry. Close your eyes and think of Thick Daddy Hades from Hades.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. Back on track.
I'm now picturing Pharaoh as Thick Daddy Hades.
I want to describe Bitchia real quick. So I am the mother of Moses. And so who's Moses again? It's John, right?
Me?
No, it's sorry. It's Charlie.
Charles.
Yeah, Charles. Okay. So Charles, I'm your mama. And
legally I am.
I just need to introduce you to like what you like have seen many days of your life. Like it's my bathhouse, right? And in the traditional story, it's like Bitya like takes Moses from the waters. But my bathhouse is I'm choosing to make it like a zoological garden. So there's like these beautiful botanical areas, and there's like all these different animals from exotic parts of the empire. I have crocodiles and giraffes, and animals you can't quite identify. And they are my handmaidens, right? They're at my beck and call, and I pet them, and that's how I treat everyone. Actually,
that is so great. I love that,
and that's how I treat you, Moses, too. You know, you are one of my little lions, and I'm here to protect you, if that's okay.
That's lovely. I embrace that absolutely. Yeah. And that explains why, as a young person, I would find the voice of Hashem. Is that non-offensive? Yeah. Okay.
Hashem is good.
I would go to nature to hear the voice of Hashem because I was so accustomed to feeling the presence of the divine in those animals and waters and growing things. And when I do hear that voice of Hashem, though, it is as nature can be, not gentle. It's flattening, utterly deafening, and although it's pure bliss, it also leaves me drained and usually weeping or bleeding sometimes.
Whoa.
And often with a message that I don't quite comprehend, as is so often the case with recipients of the divine message.
Is this like animals attack you? Like, and that's the voice of Hashem? like
I picture it more like thunder, like out of a clear sky, but like louder than any thunder imaginable, you know, and not audible to anything or buddy except for Moses, you know. But yeah, it's like deafeningly loud, which is what I've heard people with temporal lobe epilepsy and videos and so forth describe the divine voices they hear as sometimes. So yeah. All right.
Would anyone else like to introduce us to their version of their characters?
You know, one thing I've always wondered about, when Aaron comes on the scene, he just knows magic. Like, straight up, he enters the fray as a wizard. And so
yeah, he's already like a level 10 wizard. It's great.
It's fantastic. So
well, it's not like you meet young Gandalf, you know.
That's because when you get into Lord of the Rings,
who
Gandalf
needs
is
young Sheldon? We could have had young Gandalf.
Oh man,
I'm just imagining the Lord of the Rings Muppet Babies spinoff where Gandalf is taking care of everyone.
But let's remember that Gandalf is actually like Space Mist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
the
like,
wizards
young
aren't
Gandalf
actually-
is a protean star. It's not a great show. It's very boring. So I think what's interesting about Aaron is that Aaron has always been a reactionary. Aaron has always been a revolutionary. He just didn't know how to take it farther. So he started studying extremely young how to gain power. He's a strong young man. He knew how to fight. He knew how to work because he was a slave. But he also understood that, like, punching dudes not actually the best way to enact a big change. Useful. Always punch a Nazi. That message is sponsored by Wanmon.
Yeah, utterly from the bottom of our hearts
Bottom
to
of our
the
hearts.
tips of our knuckles. Yeah.
I endorse that message.
But while punching a fascist, be they in modern day America or goose stepping analogs, he
Having a
wanted
hard
power.
time picturing goose stepping Egyptians just because of like
sandals?
I don't know.
Well, like.
It would be another type of avian, right? It may be like a
an ibis.
Yes,
Ibis
stepping.
An ibis stepping.
Yeah.
So he started studying. He started trying to study the occult at a very young age, and what was there for him was, Egyptian magic and Egyptian occultism and Egyptian lore. However, there is in the Kabbalah, there is the idea that you can receive mystic knowledge from the air through meditation, and while studying Egyptian mysticism and magic and deep in meditation, angels of Hashem came and whispered the true pronunciations of letters into his mind and heart, giving him mystic powers that he has not mastered, but is eager to use to help his people.
What does his rod or staff actually look like? Is it a physical rod, or what is it for him?
It is fulgurite. It is a massive chunk of fulgurite.
That's the stone that only happens when lightning hits sand, right?
Yes. It is fulgurite that so fulgurite is normally extremely brittle.
Yeah.
It falls apart very easily. This fulgurite will not break.
Cool.
It isn't hard, like, he can't use it as a weapon. At least the staff as a physical weapon, but it is a manifestation of his will to help his people.
Our distinguished guests at home should look up fulgurite. It looks like a tree that's made out of stone, right?
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I love it. Fulgurite is another rabbit hole I've gone down in the past.
Yeah,
thanks to 40K, thanks to Horus Heresy.
Sorry,
speaking of Egyptians. Yeah, John Baldisberger, the guy who made me read like 150 books.
I'm kind of like a crack dealer if that crack is literature.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. Best I've ever tried, man. Things are crazy addictive.
I mean, that's the most dangerous drug of all, really.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
It's the written word. Everyone, beware.
Yeah, true. We should wrap up the war on drugs and focus more on keeping Horus Heresy books off the street.
I would be all for that if I didn't want Dan Abnett to have a big house, and I do want Dan Abnett to have a big house.
We'll just take away Graham McNeil's and give it to him.
I'm there for that.
Win-win. Yeah. Anyway, now that we've gone down that,
always punch Graham McNeil.
Yes.
Look. I don't like Graham McNeil's writing, but don't punch him. He's probably a frightened dude. He's
just a lazy, kind of bad writer who
just find a bigot.
Ideas. Yeah.
Find a bigot. Tape Graham McNeil a paper cut out of Graham McNeil's face to the bigot, and then punch the bigot.
Punch that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got there. Anyway, Fulgurite, it's fun.
Yes,
let's
yeah.
move on.
Okay.
Somehow.
Well, now that I have so many pictures in my mind, some I wanted, some I didn't, but we're here anyway. Okay. I think we know our cast of characters. Does anyone want to tell us a little more about themselves, or should we get to it?
No,
I like the color blue, but that's a Ben thing.
All right. Then I think we're ready for Karpas, the next ritual. So Karpas, in this for this ritual, in the cracks of an old ruin, new life begins to sprout. Yeah, did I skip something?
Gabrielle, I think we have something at least we should mention that's really cool in the book. It is Shulchan Urich, a moment of respite.
Yes, I did skip that.
And could you describe what it is?
Well, why don't you do it, Ben? Keep going.
I think my audio is
Unless
lagging
you don't have
right
it
now.
handy. Okay, in that case, I can do it. So yeah, we have at this point in the guidebook an optional and suggested break. But really, you can take these moments of respite anytime you want. Whenever anyone can wait. I'd like a Shulchan Aruch. I'd like to take a break right now. And it's an encouragement to drink some water, just take a bio break, read something that feels relevant. I feel like we kind of just had a little bit of that.
I feel like we had a 40K
listen to music, sing something. Yeah. Reflect on connections to the present day. We definitely did that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these are things you can do intentionally whenever you want to just kind of introduce a break into your
Let's take one of
gameplay.
those. I forgot the word breaks. At least I'm going to right now for about 2 seconds, and I will be right back on camera at that point. Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
So, while he's gone, because we don't actually want a few minutes lag in audio, what I'll say is I have a new book coming out on May 30th called Bel the Last Dragon. Now, Bel is actually a Jewish dragon. I take some liberties with the legend. I take a lot of liberties with the legend. If you are familiar with my book War of Dictates, which is a retelling of Talmudic mythology through, sorry, Gabrielle, but heavy gore and
hey,
verse.
Teach their own.
Bel, in that book, Bel dies. And this book picks up after his death. He is brought back to life, and he leads a war against the fallen angels known as the Grigori, found in the Book of Enoch. I'm calling this book a splatter pulp book. It's very pulpy, very like Robert Howard, very barbarians and guns and dragons. But it has a few Jewish tips and taps in there because, again, it's me. But that book comes out on May 30th on Godless, on Amazon, anywhere you like to buy books. It's self-published, so if you like it, please tell people about it because that's how self-published books get the word out. We are still waiting for Mr. Charles Bernard. Ooh, that was a little bit of horseradish that I just put in my mouth. So I'm going to continue to talk a little. Now, as everyone knows, I spend a lot of time going through Kickstarter and looking at the projects available. Oh, he is back.
I am back.
Just know that this project is one that caught my eye, even if I were not to be Jewish. Okay, Gabrielle, let's hit it up with Karpas.
All right. Thank you for reminding me about the break, Ben.
Now, where were we?
Karpas.
Yeah, where were we? We were at Karpas. The prologue. So in the cracks of an old ruin, new life begins to sprout. We can appreciate both what is past and what is yet to come. So we have another ritual action here. And again, because we're not all around a physical table together, we'll do the alternate ritual, which is to show the other players something old or that has been yours for a long time and describe how it has a new use or meaning in your life. So does anyone have something who wants to start?
I do, actually. This, I had to figure out, is my Kirby whiskey tumbler. It has Kirby in his little sleep cap. My friend bought this for me my friend I mentioned earlier who lives in Tokyo bought this for me before my daughter was born, so I've had this for about 9-10 years now. And it's really cute, and I can pour rum into it and drink from it. But
you cutting that with anything, Chief, or are you just drinking it straight?
I'm hearing a lot of judgment that is confusing when I'm trying to talk something beautiful. Anyway,
for the audio listeners, I think that's his 4th glass of rum.
Again, judgment. Hey, judgment is not part of the Passover. Judging
I didn't
John.
judge. I just stated account.
But
math isn't judgment, John.
It kind of is. Let's be honest. But jokes aside, my daughter is now very into Kirby. She is 9, and I bought her the new Kirby game for her Nintendo for her birthday, and she really loves it. The other day, I asked her to draw a truck dragon because she likes drawing dragons, and she's like, "That's cool and all, but I'm going to draw Kirby as a car because that's the thing you can do in the new Kirby game." And so,
yes, Kirby.
So this glass connects me both to my friendship from college. Who he lives in Tokyo now, so I don't get to see him and talk to him as often, and to my new life as a father, and to my own childhood as a Kirby gamer.
Cool.
That's wonderful.
I'll go next. So this is a ring that I've had for many years. It's a symbol with a lot of different names. Eye of Providence, so forth. It's the eye in the pyramid right there, appropriate for tonight. And for many years, I've been wearing it upside down with the triangle pointed downwards because in alchemy, the more grounded so-called elements, namely earth and I think water, are like downwards pointing triangles, one of them with a bar in it, one of them without. And the more upward directed elements, namely air and fire, are like upright pyramids. And for a long time, I felt like I was in more of a phlegmatic, grounded, sluggish stage in my life because, I don't know, I've had kind of the crap eaten out of me medically and so forth lately. But just over the last, I don't know, several months, started to feel like I'm beginning to rise like a phoenix with my air and fire, all chemical elements more in balance. So like a phoenix I shall rise. And so I've flipped that ring the other side up and now wear it pointy side up to symbolize the more upward directed alchemical elements. So there you go.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Wow, very cool.
I have this thesaurus. It's Roget's International Thesaurus. It's a book that's filled with great words. And it's old in the sense that it's actually not one of the things I've had since home, but I've had this connection with thesauruses and dictionaries ever since I was playing a game of Boggle with my friend, with my family and my cousin Gabrielle, who's a true wizard. And so it's whenever I touch, and although it's a new book and it's serving me in new ways, because it's very inspirational for just thinking of a word and then looking it up and then having all these associations already created for thinking about game design and things. And I have one that's also for Japanese as well. But it connects me to my family, right? It's a nice thick tome of just awesome words, right? It's the power of the word that it's love for me. So that's what
that's
thesaurus means.
That's beautiful, and it's adorable that you've always felt connected to dictionaries and the sources. I feel like
Hey, I have
feel,
too.
I feel like a connection and almost paternal feeling towards young Ben.
The Thesauruses are great, and I am pretty shameless in that, like, as a writer, I'm not too good to, like, I know some people who are like, oh, I don't need a thesaurus, like, I've got a, well, okay, I've got an adequate vocabulary myself, but sometimes you learn a new word that's absolutely wonderful, like conurbation instead of city. Like, that's just a lot more fun. Why use 2 syllables when you can use 4?
I'm an award nominated poet, and I use a thesaurus, a dictionary, and a rhyming dictionary.
A rhyming dictionary, MC John, yeah.
Get off my back with any judgment. Use any tool to write better.
Yeah.
Any tool at all.
Yeah.
Cheers,
well,
both
Ben,
of you. Love it.
Ben, I love that you picked a book because I picked a bookmark. This is and we did not plan this. But actually, this is a bookmark I got the one time I was in Japan. I went to Japan with my family when I was a teenager, and I got this because it has my favorite animal, has rabbits on it, and they're like rabbits just like jumping in the waves for some reason. They're seafaring rabbits. I don't know. I never read too much into it. But I've never actually used it as a bookmark. I've always just like had it as a decorative object. But it has a new meaning for me because of this collaboration I've had with Ben. There's so many different these many calls across the ocean. The my night his morning, my morning his night, and we've made it happen all along the way. And so now when I look at this, I think about our collaboration and maybe one day visiting you in Japan and actually putting this bookmark in the book we're making together.
That's beautiful. I love that.
It's cool. That bookmark. It makes me think because rabbits, in Japanese myth, like live on the moon, or like
so the tides.
Right? The tides, right? And I feel like when the day is waxing for you, it's waning for me, and so there's this really tidal relationship we have with each other. That's very resonant.
I want to break in here just with this comment about the game. There's Ben, Gabrielle, you can probably back me up on this. There are few things that are more family than Passover dinner for Jews, right? Like this is the big family thing. Like we might get together for Rosh Hashanah. I don't want to see any family member for Purim. I really don't want any family member to see me for Purim.
That privilege is reserved for me. I got a magnificent picture of John one year on my phone.
I do drag for Purim.
Yeah, he was wearing
my favorite Purim celebration was a drag Purim celebration I went to this year. It blew my mind. Yeah. It was so good.
And drinking, I think it was rum out of like a Viking horn.
No, it was Goldwein, actually.
Okay.
So, but like Passover is the family thing. And I've
been lucky enough to be invited to 2 in my life, and I felt very honored both times.
Well, what I wanted to say is, like, playing this game with you two, like, it already feels like family. You know what I mean? It feels like I know Ben as a child now. I know Gabrielle's favorite animal, and like the things you connect and that are meaningful. It's really quite beautiful. And it's very. Look, it may be the how many, Charles?
I believe you're in your 5th glass.
Now? Yeah, 5.
It may be the 5 glasses of rum, but I'm feeling very sentimental and very full of loving kindness.
You can tell because he called me Charles and not Pashke.
That only happens after 3.
I don't
drink a lot, but it's been a doozy of a week.
It has.
So.
Yeah, I second that. This is a tremendously fun experience, and I think that anyone from any faith tradition would quite enjoy this. A story of liberation from bondage, the sharing little pieces of your personal history. I love it. So on with the show, and also
smelling
the fact
horseradish.
Yes, and the fact that rabbits live on the moon. I will be thinking about that 4 months. Like, I've never heard that, and it's haunting. Like, I can't get it out of my head. I'm just thinking about rabbits on the moon, like how high they could jump. Imagine.
Did I miss the Japanese thing of like the rabbit in the moon versus how horrified they are when people introduce them to the man in the moon from American like perspective? Because that's a real thing. Like,
what is that?
So, Japanese children are not taught about the man in the moon. They're taught about the rabbit in the moon. Because if you look at the moon, there's actually like a shape, a rabbit head shape. And then like, no, it's a man in the moon. When you point out the face, Japanese children are like, oh shit, oh no. It's almost like Majora's Mask.
It's like a moment of cosmic horror, you know?
Like, no, can it see me? I don't want the scary moon face to see
There
me.
is nothing I treasure more than the look of cosmic horror on a child's face.
It's Japanese child's face.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, a child of any race, color, or creed, but just as long as I can introduce them to the abyss, it's all good.
That's fair.
My sister's Jewish, but when she was 13, she saw Santa Claus flying in the sky. Like, this is something that she experienced. She's like, she saw a sleigh riding overhead on Christmas.
Oh my god!
And it just like it made her like believe in Santa, and two. And two, it was like a moment of true horror that stayed with her whole life. Like, things have changed.
I love that so much. I did have the conversation with my daughter like a couple years ago. Like, we were like, look, we're Jewish. We don't celebrate Christmas. There's no Santa. No, this show's not for children. If your children are listening, have them stop listening right now. If
they should not have been listening in the first place.
Yeah, like, not. Yeah.
Our fucks per episode are like well above 70 or 80.
No, that's not true at all. I don't have any fucks per episode.
Well, we give 0 fucks.
But I told my daughter, like, look, there's no Santa. We don't celebrate Christmas. We're not going to do any of that. You're going to get gifts. I am buying you those gifts with my hard-earned fucking money. And she's like, okay, cool. And then she came back, hey, my friend at school says they saw Santa. And I had the moment of like,
tell your friend they're stupid.
Okay, I did
your friend's
not think
a gosh
that.
darn liar.
Yeah.
Did your friend want one of these? No, what I said is like, look, you can't say this to your friend. You need to let your friend believe what they believe. That's very important. You need to respect their beliefs, respect their joy. But that was definitely their dad in a Santa suit. And either their dad's fat or they had a pillow. I don't know which. I'm not judging. But tell their fat dad not to get you involved in it.
And tell their fat dad to watch Gremlins and tread carefully, because
tell their fat dad to watch Alien. Okay?
No. Because I don't know if you know Gremlins, but
I do.
There's a wonderful story about a guy who tried to go down the chimney and breaks his neck and dies. Like, just in the middle of Gremlins, people forget about that.
Am I threatening him, or
no? You're just telling them to be careful.
Friends, if you're just tuning in, if you're just joining us and tuning in now and hearing us talking about Santa and Gremlins, obviously we are playing a game based on Passover.
Of course, of course, naturally.
So wait! Let's play this game.
I just want to check. Did Pashki get a chance to share?
No, I didn't get a chance. But so here I have this camera that has never worked the entire time I've owned it. It was given to me from my grandfather. I forget the circumstances, but we were at like the Pashki estate, as it were, and they were cleaning up the basement, and he just kind of was like, here, you want this? And I was like, yes, I want a camera. I'm like 6. And he's like, it doesn't work. I'm like, but it's a camera, and it's cool that people have cameras, so therefore I want it. So it's just been this knickknack Kodak camera that it has served no other purpose than to sit on the shelf, and its current like new purpose is, since I've been bored, I've been on Instagram a lot over the past year posting photos of stupid things, and So that's that.
Very
It does
cool.
look a little bit like the very old Instagram logo.
Yeah,
actually,
I
like back when they
know.
were trying to look like a retro
Right?
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thank you all for sharing those objects and bits about yourself. And so now we'll continue with the ritual of Karpas. So I think in the interest of time, and I invite waits, but I'm thinking we just do one flashback.
Okay.
Since we're trying to keep to time. Does that sound good to y'all?
You're the ritual guide at the moment.
So I'm going to guide us. Yeah, but just a guide. The rules are more of guidelines, as they say.
We're pirates.
So, the flashbacks. You got it. So we're going to guide a short scene, a flashback set sometime before Hashem calls us to act. So this is going to be a moment where our characters we're going to learn about their relationships to each other in the past before the main part of our story unfolds.
We're Tarantinoing this.
And we have a few different possibilities. Yeah, exactly. We've got make an example of them. In this scene, a cruel decree is handed down to the Hebrew people. So this could be like we learn about Pharaoh's dad. That's a possibility. We could have baby in the bulrushes. In this scene, someone saves someone else in secret. And then we have a Hebrew in Pharaoh's halls. In this scene, cultures clash within a family. Those are our possible prompts.
My instinct is either a cruel decree is handed down or someone saves someone else in secret are my two like the things that jump out at me, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think the decree could work since that's the one we've talked about the most. And I think it could be cool to set this back when the Pharaoh we know is still like a young, not the ruler, but is observing his father put forth the decree. What do you guys think?
How do I do young Sean Connery?
Yeah, that's your challenge.
And now it's off the rails.
Yellow voice, but you do it real high.
Okay, so we're gonna then in that case move forward to that flashback, which is I went too far. Make an example of them. So that's page 67 in the Ashcan, 69 in the Ashcan PDF. And so I think we're seeing that decree we talked about, whether we wanted it to be a decree of death or a decree of a lifetime of being a soldier. I don't know which, but either way, Moses is going to be saved from it, actually, right? Moses is not going to be receiving, like actually dealing with the brunt of that decree. And so I think everyone will kind of explore everyone's reaction to that in this scene. We may kind of have to move the camera around a little bit to see everybody interacting with it. Mm-hmm. But I think that definitely Miriam and Aaron, right, as siblings, will be perceiving this. Moses probably as well. I think this is going to be a decree that will immediately be affecting Moses. And so we have to find out, like, why is this so bad for Moses that it would prompt, the need to secret him away, right? I guess Bitya isn't born yet. Sorry.
I could be like the old pharaoh, right?
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. You can play an NPC in this scene. Yeah.
And I like how that also it frames it like Moses is actually older than his adopted mother, right?
Yeah.
And so
that's a good point.
Yeah, but
Pharaoh could be like young but still an adult. Like Pharaoh could be like in his 20s, I guess.
Oh yeah, I think that could work. I was just like puzzling for a moment. It's like, oh, what if like a 13-year-old adopted like a 17-year-old boy, like as her, like, this is mine now.
Yeah, we don't have to. Yeah, we can try to stick to the rough ages, so it could be like a Pharaoh and adult, but not yet the ruler.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, Bitya can be born too.
Yeah, I am a young person.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. And so I guess, now's our time to figure out what scene of daily life is interrupted by this new order. So what does everyone's kind of daily life look like before this is handed down? That's our open question.
Just chilling in that. Oh yeah, that's never mind. That's in my. Wait a minute. Yeah, as a baby, I did get to hang out in that awesome garden and so forth, right? Or was that when I was?
We're going slightly before that, right?
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So
Or it could be
yeah,
a
obviously,
Or not.
like
Yeah, we can decide.
no. I'll roll with it. Like, well, obviously, like I was a warm, comfortable baby, and then I was surfing the mean River Nile, and that's no place for a baby. That's how my life was influenced by that cruel decree, whether servitude or death. That's got to be a pretty grim fate if the river is a better option.
That's really great. Where were you? Where were you before you were like tossed into the river, like sent along?
Oh, there was
like,
a very
what was
tearful
happening?
farewell. Like, mom clutching me close and like weeping, and I, as an infant, am not like quite sure why she's upset, and am trying to like figure out, reach for her and stuff, and then like down into the bulrush as I go. So
Yeah,
very
Miriam, were you
confusing and
there?
distressing.
I think I was, and I think that I think that I left at a certain point. Like it was too much for me. Just I didn't want to bear witness to it, and that's why I went out to the thorny place, like to be alone. It was like overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
like, what happened just before that? Like, why did you and your mom send the child along the river? Like, what situation did the pharaoh interrupt?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was a very typical day. Like I think we were I wonder if we were carrying out like duties that were forced upon us, or if it was one of those rare moments of like where we weren't, right? Where we were able to kind of whatever meager, like,
River's a good place to gather water.
yeah, I
Or
think
what if
gathering water is a good idea.
what if there was a pure like a drag show, right? If we want to go a little wild with it, like it could be a celebration day.
I like that. I like the idea that this was like one of our rare celebratory moments. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interrupted tragically.
Interrupted.
By Pharaoh being a dick. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So in that case, I'm performing, right? I'm like, I think at this point my tambourine is not broken yet. It has a mirrored surface that is unbroken, and I'm performing with it joyously, like it's a really celebratory moment.
I love that tambourine, being a baby who loves loud things.
Yeah, exactly. I'm shining. It's shiny. It's very
shiny, loud. Like that
what's not to
tambourine's the
love?
jam.
Literally, yeah.
So like, Aaron, are you performing also at this ceremony or at this celebration?
Wouldn't I be like 4 years old?
Doesn't matter, man. Like
we are kind of so this is our chance to play fast and loose with kind of everything.
Yeah. Right. So I think this is maybe like I haven't been put to work yet. I'm too young to really work as a slave at this point. But this is, as this decree comes down, this is the first time I see my mother weep. This is the first time I see agony. There's a difference between despondence and depression and pain. And I think this is the inciting moment where I realize that I'm not going to, like, my life is not one of like, okay, I do my job, do. This is the moment where Hashem calls to me specifically. I don't know it. I don't hear a voice. I don't understand what's happening, but I see my mother cry, and I know that will not do. So this is the moment where I cease being Aaron, the Hebrew slave, and I become Aaron, the revolutionist.
I love it.
There's this amazing section of a Run the Jewels song. I think it's called Up Again Early. And Killer Mike has a verse about how he was arrested in front of like his child, and his wife like tried to intervene in some fashion and was like thrown to the ground and cuffed and like screamed in front of their kid as well. And Killer Mike's like ending to the stanza is just like, and my life changed with that sound. And that shit's still happening.
I don't know.
Little kids seeing stuff like that happen to their parents, being a parent, having that happen to you in front of your kid,
Yeah, look, my mom is a white Baptist woman. Like, she ain't got much in the way of oppression other than the oppression that every woman in America suffers, which is significant.
Especially right now.
Especially right now. But hey, Supreme Court, I will meet you on the playground and fight. I do not care. I will throw fisticuffs.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's how cases are decided yet.
Charles, don't take this from me. I am 5 deep. I will fight the Supreme Court.
One drink for each member.
That's right.
However,
how many more drinks do you have?
However, shut up.
4 to go. Yep.
I have seen my mom cry, and there's nothing quite like that. There's nothing quite as eye-opening and painful as seeing one of your parents cry for the first time. And so I think this is the moment. Aaron doesn't become a man, and he's a slave. He was born a man, right? He wasn't given the like many children of color in America, especially. He was never given really the option to be a child. But this is the moment that he realized that I don't have a choice. I have to do something.
Yeah.
And what does Aaron do? Like, how does he react in that moment?
He cries. I mean, this is huge. This is huge, and he's a child. There are so many times in our lives where we don't know what to do. We don't know how to fight back, and we feel powerless. And all you can do is scream or cry. And so in that moment, all Aaron does is cry. But that is still the inciting moment. And he cries. Maybe he cries for years. He might cry for 3 or 4 years. But then one day, he stops crying, and he realizes that he can either keep crying or he can fight. And that it isn't someone else's fight. It isn't an adult who will make the change. That if he doesn't get involved, then it doesn't change. That he has to be part of the solution, or else his life will never get better. And more importantly, the people he loves' lives will never get better.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Oh, go, Gabrielle.
I was just going to say that I think Miriam, like, witnessing, like, she too is distraught by this situation, but she always like sees her role as the like role to cheer other people up, to get them dancing, get them singing. Like, she doesn't let herself cry when she sees her family in this state. She just wants to, help them through it, and it's not always successful, right? For years she had kept trying, right, to cheer her brother up, and he probably found this, I don't know how he found this, if anybody found it annoying or not, but I'm sure it got a little bit much.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
But I think as kids, I'm sure he wasn't always able to process that, and I'm sure he probably pushed her away. Yeah.
For sure.
Here, I have a question. Wait. So, Pharaoh, do we want to establish what this decree was?
Yeah, that's a thing that I've been kind of pondering in the back of my head a little bit. So I feel like we're gravitating towards the decree is the old Pharaoh's dad, Pharaoh Senior, as it were, decreeing that's like time to off all the kids. At least that's where I've been kind of like shaping it in my brain meets.
Yeah. Is this like a ritual or something, or is it just like they're going to revolt someday? Let's kill them, or something else?
I feel like younger Pharaoh doesn't understand yet, and it's one of those like it's the last moment of his like youthful everything should be fair and good, and older Pharaoh being like, no, we have to do this, and kind of like the dismantling of his worldview and leaning him more towards the evil, corrupt way of pharaohs as were and will be. If that made sense.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't make any sense half the time.
I think
no, man, I get it.
I think that Bitya like tugs at your pinky finger, right? And I look up and I say, Papa, why is everyone crying? The birds are all silent, and the crocodiles, they're not eating, and I'm scared.
You see, my sweet, your grandfather had to make a decision. He pondered hard and long about it, and he didn't make it rationally, but he ultimately did what's best for the kingdom, for our people to survive and prosper. You see, these slaves that have built our great structures, they may uprise someday, and if my father, your grandfather, didn't do what he had done, that's decree, things could be terrible down the road.
And I say, but you know that even the greatest elephants can be downed will fall. And I don't want to be riding when it does.
It's a bright young man.
I'm a little lady.
Yeah.
Bright young woman. Sorry.
Let's hope that we aren't riding when the elephant falls. May the gods bless us. Did we lose
everyone?
Ben is having some connection issues.
Oh no.
Ben just dropped, unfortunately. But when he comes back, he will be on again. I'm going to continue soaking up my rum with matzah.
I love it.
It's probably really good at that.
It would. No. There's
what are the tasting notes on matzah? I've never had it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so do you have a both of you? This is
hints
fun.
of cardboard, notes of
I was gonna say,
styrofoam.
do you have let's be fair.
Okay.
Do you have not cardboard, but do you have the like tube of an old used up paper towel roll?
Yes,
one of my favorite.
Okay, like a stale saltine, and then somehow still staler, like
with no salt.
Yeah, but take away the salt and go staler.
So like you put like wet one of the paper towels and put it around the paper towel roll and then let it dry, and then just tear into it. But I have a secret weapon because I have horseradish that I can put on.
Right, I was going to say there are ways to make it palatable. Personally, like matzo brie, like cover it in eggs, fry it in a pan, put some syrup on it, and then like now you're talking.
That does sound good.
Yeah.
So welcome back.
Ben's back.
Yeah, I apologize. My internet connection seems to be unstable right now, and so it just keep continuing the story if I disappear.
I can sympathize. It's been a day with the internet.
So a big part of the Passover plate is horseradish. When I bought this at the Pepper Palace in New Orleans, not a sponsor, but I do endorse them.
We endorse New Orleans.
This will be one of the most intense things you put in your mouth for 5 seconds, and then it will be over. And by God, it's true.
Which is like the opposite of the hottest peppers, because those
they just linger.
Build and build, and you're like, this can't possibly get any hotter, and then I cry for 2 days, and yeah.
I'm going to punch air for a few seconds.
You do that.
I
beat up the
I
beat.
work at a summer camp every summer, and I'm usually in charge of 6-year-old boys for a week, and like my job is taking care of crying, like consoling young children as they're like weeping not with their parents. Like these kids are not ready to be out of the home, and I had one child named Haruma. Last year, who cried for 4 days, just like waking up through the evening, like just
wow.
And it was like a full body like weeping. It's like from the depths of his belly, and it was just the most.
I'm surprised that's even
experience.
like biologically possible, because
Charles.
crying. No. But usually crying has like a tidal rhythm, you know. It burns itself out after a while.
It did, but then after 10 minutes he'd start crying, but there's no tears in his eyes. It's just his body shaking.
I don't know if anyone else here has the children, which makes it sound like a disease, which kind of.
I've avoided contracting the children.
There's a thing called the purple period.
Yeah, actually, I know that because I worked for, and this is a real place, the National Center on Shaken Baby Syndrome. And they have a big campaign called the Period of Purple Crying, where they are teaching people like not to shake their kids during that, because
I
it's
understand.
just like 90 days where kids are just like loud
24/7 crying.
Yeah, and they cry. It's called the purple period because they cry so hard they're just like purple constantly.
Yeah.
And that was when I heard about that. That was like final nail in the coffin. Like, don't want to be a dad.
Put your balls in a blender and vasectomy yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
When my daughter Aziza went through the purple period of crying, that's when I got the nail gun and performed my own vasectomy. Pro tip: do not perform a vasectomy with a nail gun unless you are performing it on a Nazi.
But if you do, make sure to use Big Stanley nail guns. Proud sponsor.
Oh, that was a hot bite.
All right, so back to the game. Sorry about that.
All right, so back.
Back to the game.
So I feel like we've kind of gotten a taste of our characters in the past. I think that Miriam probably smashes her tambourine. She probably has like a vision of the future. She's hoping that there will be some resolution, everything will be all right. But what she sees is just violence in the future. She sees Moses committing acts of violence. She sees Aaron committing acts of violence. This is what she sees in her family's future. And she, as a child as well, not ready to process this. This is when she smashes the mirror. But over time, she pieces it back together, and it is never the same as it was before. And that is.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that like your smashing the mirror is what helped your brother escape. Like at one point, like somehow you distracted attention.
I think that could totally be right. Yeah.
And I want to use one of my moves. When I wish to save someone, I can immerse in the waters. And so I think I'm going to at least save one Hebrew child, even though I can't save them all, as a little Egyptian princess. And I'm going to find someone of value, and that is going to be... Is it going to be Moses, or is it going to be someone else?
I think it's Moses.
It's Moses. Okay, and the waters demand something in return. What do I offer? I offer my smiles. And from now on, Bitcha cannot smile. There it is.
Love it.
Then
she's officially Eisenhorn.
I think we will cut away at that point, and then I will close this ritual and pass the role of ritual guide to whoever wants it. I think it might, if we're rotating between me, Ben, and John, I've lost track. Ben, is it your turn again, Ben? Unless anyone else wants it.
Yeah. So, okay, it's me. Let's do... I think the voice has already called, right? And then the voice, who it was called, it called Aaron already.
Yep.
And I think maybe it called, whether it was through the breaking of the tambourine or it was the situation in general. So let's go to Halakma Anya, Let My People Go. And this is like a scene in which, well, I'll describe it. So the ritual guide: a single stream can carve canyons. A candle can illuminate the darkest pit. So we're all supposed to describe a time we've had to fight for something we thought was beyond our reach. Who helped you achieve it? And this is answered out of character. I'll go first. Yeah. Okay. So in a time that I thought something was beyond my reach was coming home this summer. I haven't seen my parents in literally years. 3, 4, I'm not sure. Just because I pay for school, so all my money and all my part-time jobs go to paying for my education, and not to paying for trips home, and then also Corona.
Also there was a pandemic when you weren't allowed.
So my thing I've had to fight for is well, it's like a plane ticket, and so it's my grandparents are helping pay, and then I'm helping pay, and then my parents said they'd help pay, so that's like, and so like one thing that this Kickstarter is doing is it's like giving me like, there's actually not much profit, but like whatever the marginal amount I get, like it's going to help afford a plane ticket so that I can see my family. Cool. And nice. So basically Gabrielle is someone who helped me achieve it, and yeah, thank you, Gabrielle, for doing this. Who would like to go next?
I will. I gave shouts to my main man John Baltisberger here, but John and I have been sawing away at this old podcast and Twitch streaming, what do you want to call it, game for quite some time. And it wasn't until the addition of two magnificent bastards named Ian Servas and Charles Segundas Paschke. And those gentlemen have taken us to the next level. We've reformatted. We've made a lot of really positive changes. We've got some exciting stuff coming up. We're met really cool stressed. People. Yeah, we've met amazing game creators like y'all, and continue to do so and build like friendships and so forth. And as a person who leaves the house about like once every, and by house I mean a 400 square foot like third story walk up, but don't leave it that often. It's good to have good friends. So thanks, guys. And I kind of was waiting for John to pull the plug on One, and instead we doubled down, as it were, and things are going great. So yeah, couldn't have done it by myself, that's for goddamn sure.
Patsky, would you like to go next?
Sure. So
it's a thing that you had to overcome and someone who helped you.
So first thing that's come to my mind is back when I lived in Indiana, I had like the place I worked was a small little cigar bar that I was trying to impress the owner, and he bought the place, and we had this big event coming up, and we had a tent out back, and we wanted to have beers and stuff drinking out there. Long story short on that, but we were told that we weren't going to be able to get that approved in time. But I figured out that it was shorter to get a permanent outdoor patio approved and built by the bare minimum of Indiana laws than it was to get the approval for a tent out back. And by having a guy that I haven't seen him in almost a year now, but his name is Josh, who was working with me, and he was the other half of running the store at the time. I couldn't have gotten that done without him. But yeah, I don't know.
I love that.
Bureaucracy abuse is like some of my best exploitation. It's so good.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Gabrielle, do you wanna hit us next?
I'll go next. I Obviously this project Ben and I are working on is on top of my mind. When I was a little kid, people ask like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I always used to say an author and an illustrator. I was a little overly ambitious, but I went on a completely different professional path. I studied science. I went to grad school, though I quickly learned like nope, PhD, just noped right out of that with a master's. But working with Ben has really allowed me, I think, to tap into that creative, writerly side of myself, and bringing this project to fruition has really been the fulfillment of a dream I've had for a very long time. So it's been a very powerful experience, and I absolutely couldn't have done it without Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, all of your attempts at writing like short fiction and novels is shining because your writing's so good and clear, Gabrielle. Like the clarity of the text makes it accessible for anyone really to play, and I'm just so impressed. And maybe that's also your science background, like trying to explain in clear terms in papers and things. But yeah,
and science writing is some of the hardest there is. Like doing that right. Horror is just scribbling nonsense by comparison. Isn't that right, John?
Speaking of John, do you have any moments you've had to overcome something you didn't think you could achieve or reach?
I've achieved everything in my life through sheer spite.
Oh yeah, thanks to spite itself for helping you.
Yeah.
No. Let me look. I've had a lot of naysayers in my life. A lot of people who have talked me down and made me feel less than. And when I say I've done everything in my life out of spite, I mean it.
Are you giving a shout out to the haters? The haters and
not
losers?
not at all. Just let me
on this happy 9/11.
Charles, 1 second.
Just drink for all the audio listeners.
Charles, when I say that every time someone has told me I couldn't do something, I said, "Go fuck yourself. I'm going to do it even harder now." Which is how I've come to own a publishing company.
It's one of the things I admire about you. Yeah,
and have written 15 books in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
that's insane. However, there's one person that it all kind of goes back to. A woman named Devorah Weingarten of blessed memory. She wrote a book called "There's Jews in Texas," which was a book of poetry, and another book of poetry called "What a Jewish Grandmother Means." And I got to know Devorah in her last couple of years of life, and she is the one that really hammered home that I could, if I wanted to, just write. That I could write, and then I could put it out there, and it could exist. Mm-hmm. And if not for that first press, if not for her inspiration and her support and her loving kindness and her belief in me, I would never have put pen to page. I would never have thought okay, maybe I can do this. And frankly, we wouldn't be here today because Madness Heart Press, Madness Heart Games, and Wandering Monster would have never come to fruition. So
I'll drink to that for sure.
So, Devorah, may your memory always be for a blessing. May your family remember you with love and kindness, and thank you for everything. Also, to all the haters out there, go fuck yourselves.
I knew it. I knew he'd get there eventually.
I wasn't gonna, but you said it, and I felt like I had to. What am I supposed to do? I gotta make the fans happy.
That was really beautiful. In this scene, the Hebrew people make demands. We play to find out what we want and what we will do to get it. So I'm going to suggest a few things about the scene, and to set it. So I suggest who is in the scene. I think that Bitya is in the scene. I think that Aaron, you're definitely in the scene. And what else?
Well, how much farther forward in time are we? When are we?
Actually, I think that instead of Bitya, it would be Pharaoh, right? Pharaoh, and maybe like Bitya could have smuggled you into the palace, right? And Aaron, and who else would like to come on this? Maybe Moses, right?
Yeah.
So that'd be great.
I'm gonna beat up Pharaoh.
Yeah,
I'm not actually going to beat up
I'd
Pharaoh.
like to
totally do it. We can always wait. You have great power, Pharaoh.
That's right.
What are they doing? I think what we're doing is I'm sneaking Moses' brother Aaron in to have an audience, a private audience with the Pharaoh, and it's all a ruse. The Pharaoh thinks it's going to be like a member of my family, but I have been convinced by Moses to like host this meeting. And where is it taking place? It is in the hall where like where Sarah's throne is. Like, Pharaoh, I have a question though. What does your throne look like? Is it just like a chair? Or is it like a teetering stack of books? Is it like a pit of tigers? What does your throne room look like?
All right, so when I was reading over the PDF, I saw that a bunch of pillows was an option, and if I was a pharaoh, beanbags, yes. Bearskin rug at the foot of it, maybe not, because I don't know if they have bears in Egypt.
I mean, they don't need to. We just buy it.
I'm one.
Because you guys are importing exotic animals.
Yeah,
that's right. Yes, bring several bears, skin them, and then put the pelts down by my feet.
And so we have these beautiful gay men who've been skinned and put like at your feet.
Right.
Hey, gore's a veil. Gore's a veil.
Wait, hold on. Are Charles and I's hides at Pharaoh's feet?
You're welcome to mine. Gabrielle. It's not worth it.
It's okay.
I don't know if I'm a bear, but I'm certainly a thick daddy.
We have these normal bear pelts. Maybe there's like a polar bear pelt, right? It's very exotic. And
we got those all the way from a continent that doesn't exist yet.
It doesn't exist. Oh my goodness!
It hasn't been discovered.
I like to think that Pharaoh like talks about like different parts of the pharaoh, like the palace, in very like historical terms. Like I like to his daughter. He's like, and this is the room.
And here's where archaeologists will unearth this later, and it's how they'll look at our culture. You see, I removed your third uncle twice removed, so they're never gonna know that he even existed. I just scraped him off.
When they mummify me, I'm going to make this face.
There's a book by Joseph. There's a book by Joseph Heller, the guy that wrote Catch-22, about David. And throughout the entire book, David's like, what was I supposed to do? They didn't have TVs yet. And so I think it's very much like that. Like, and this is the room where I would put my big screen TV if they existed. I would watch football if it existed. Would someone please get the Hebrews into inventing sports? I'm bored here. I'm sleeping.
I've been trying to build boats so we can get across the ocean so that we can get some corn and then we can pop it. That way, if we ever have a television, we can eat popcorn.
I love this, and he's like, and you see that isthmus like near the right of the river. That's where I'm going to die one day. Yeah, and they'll always remember that. They'll write it in a book. It's gonna be weird. But then I'm like,
a book? It's like a scroll, but it's like vertically stacked. That way, you don't have to keep on spoiling it. You just turn the pages.
Dad, I don't understand what you're saying.
It's probably from my very clear Egyptian accent.
I love that Pharaoh's a prophet of the Lord, just like, yeah,
Yeah, I keep getting these images. I have no idea what they mean, though.
I don't know what they mean. I love it.
Oh wait, a prophet, but only of pop culture.
Yeah, a profit
One
for
day-
making profit. You know.
One day, Britney Spears is going to be huge.
Who's
Her
Britney?
ultimate rival will be
What
Christina
kind of name
Aguilera.
is Britney?
And how many spears does she have?
So many. So many.
You may
As
not
soon as
like
she's
it,
done with the
but your
conflict
kids,
servers-
they're gonna love it.
I think who is witnessing this meeting is actually Miriam. I think Miriam is looking through the mirrors of her. Of her.
Yeah, I'm seeing this happen, though I'm not present.
And how will we call upon God's power? That's a question in this scene to help us confront Pharaoh.
Well,
I'm going to
I'd like to know what this Pharaoh has grown up into. We saw him as a young man witnessing his father's acts, but I'd like to know, like, what has he done in the meantime now that we've moved forward in time a bit?
Yeah, his father's gone. You know,
Yeah,
have
what
you
is-
tried
what
to
is-
make the
What's
the
his
kingdom
reign look
better?
like?
So at first I tried to be nice to these slaves, but ultimately they just kept taking and taking and taking. So now here we are. I just had to keep laying the law down because they just kept wanting days off. They wanted to work less than 12 hours a day and not every day of the week. They wanted the Sabbath thing off.
Yeah, they wanted $15 an hour. It's like, what? I don't understand. That's really great. So you've just been carrying on your father's legacy and intensifying it.
I mean, look, it's slippery slope. At first, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna do it right, and I'm gonna be great and be the best pharaoh ever. And it's like, no. Now I understand what my father had to deal with. Now it all makes sense.
And I'm going to go demanding that Pharaoh follow the Noahide commandments.
Ooh, I think would you like to just jump into roleplay? So like we meet you in your pillow room. Pharaoh.
As soon as I find the list, so I can remember what they is.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, we can jump into roleplay.
Pharaoh, just real quick? What's your favorite pillow in this room?
Oh, my favorite pillow. You mean the lucky one?
Oh no.
I call it that because I keep a special copper piece on the inside I found on the ground.
Patrick, have I ever told you I love you?
I
It's
love
not
you too,
just
buddy.
the rum, I do. It's also the rum, but I do love you.
You see, it's red with gold frilly bits on the ends.
Okay.
And it smells like rum.
It smells like me. Okay. So I am being smuggled in and introduced, I believe.
It's like behind the throne. Like a trapdoor opens and pillows go flying. Right.
I spring out.
Yeah.
I'm oiled so I can get the
Spring-loaded.
passages.
Spring-loaded Aaron, and I'm not gonna say Jack because Moses, as I did not know until this very evening, was slow of speech. So
Yeah, he had a stutter.
yeah, I'm pretty
Would
sure.
you know what that means? Moses was a scat man. Ski booty. All right. Yeah, Aaron springs out, fully decked out in like probably the most janky armor, like armor that was beaten out of a plowshare. Like, and it was like standing there, feeling regal and important. Has a fulgurite staff in hand, just points it at Pharaoh. Stop being a dick.
Thus
Is that your
commandeth.
demand?
That is my opening statement. I don't know if it's my demand. I need to.
No, the demand was that he follows. What was the you had it right?
The Noahide commandments, but the Noahide commandments don't like. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
What do you do, Pharaoh?
What in Horus's good name was this? I would probably command my magicians to dazzle him while I think about a better way to handle this. So let's see here. Who are you and why are you in my palace?
Aaron swats aside the magic of your court magicians with like spinning his Fulgurite staff as a baton, like a color guard, just whapping them out of the way, and then slams it down and strikes a pose. He thinks he's very imposing. I am here on behalf of the Hebrew people.
And
you need to respect us. It was because of us that your family has prospered, that the Egyptians are even alive.
But isn't it because of the Egyptians that you have a place to stay, a town to live in, security with our guards? You owe a lot to us, laddie.
Your gods mean nothing to us.
Oh, but my gods mean everything. They command the sun to rise, the crops to grow, the Nile to flood periodically, spraying silt all over the grounds to fertilize the crops.
They didn't command it to do for those 7 years. When Israel came and he helped the Egyptians survive famine, that was us. That was us, home stretch. Punk ass. That was us.
Is it punk ass to not know this history?
It is a little punk ass, yes. I mean, out of character, no. This is not at all. But in character, like, yeah, it's super punk ass.
All right, so it's in character then. I don't remember any of that. That doesn't make sense. Why would that have? No, that couldn't have happened.
That does sound like how a monarch would respond.
Wait.
Fake news.
Yeah, So Pharaoh, you have a move. So there's two things that could happen here. Like, one is when you're faced with the unexplainable, if you want, you can entreat one of your gods to intervene or spread rumors.
Well, he was doing that with his magicians.
You're right. Oh,
yeah.
I see that. Okay, beautiful.
So now it's time to answer. What would your father say, right? What would your father say in this moment with this Hebrew challenging your rule?
So, Ben saying, what would the father say? I'm saying what would my dad say?
What would your father say?
Pharaoh, yeah.
Okay, what would my father say in this moment?
Murder them all?
Look, my boy, you have to remember in times in the future, the Hebrews, they're going to uprise.
When did you become Christopher Walken?
Look, this is the dad Pharaoh. And I needed to not be the
we got a meta Pharaoh.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
He didn't have the same accent.
What? One was from the upper kingdom, one from the lower kingdom. You know how it goes.
Just like Christopher Walken and
Yeah.
Where was I? See, the Hebrews, they try to take what isn't theirs. It's ours because we're the Egyptians. We control it all, and we're backed by the gods. And if they don't like it, you'll just kill the firstborn all over again.
It's just like a cavalcade of bad impressions.
Bad.
Is this the plague that we're introducing?
I'll say joyfully irreverent. Joyfully irreverent.
Aaron is going to change the environment. Aaron lifts his staff and he speaks the true pronunciation of the letter Bet, and calls upon the firmament above to rain down. and it begins to pour rain, like flash flood-esque rain. And Aaron points his staff at the Pharaoh. He says, "This is the only warning you are going to get. This is the only time I am willing to come with you with love in my heart and peace on my mind. There are laws that my people intend to follow from our God. We will keep the Sabbath. We will make $15 an hour. We will have a 30-hour work week.
Love it.
And we will not worship the Egyptian gods. We will not be forced to blaspheme against our faith. We will not be forced to marry against our will. We will not be forced to steal or engage in animal sacrifice. And we will be a just people. If you continue to impugn upon our rights as a people, then Hashem have mercy on you, because I will not."
Good read. I want to make jokes, but
And then he
Moses?
sniffs into the pillows.
Where's Moses in all this? And
Yeah,
how does Pharaoh react to seeing him?
I've been just like listening, kind of soaking it in, and I think that one of the powers I have, or whatever you want to call them, moves, is that I can tell a secret. Correct. So I'm going to lean over to my brother over here, Aaron, with the magic stick, as Fiddy would say, and just like kind of whisper to him, like, he won't listen until it's too late.
That's really great.
And as we end this scene, unfortunately, we are also out of time.
Yeah.
And scene.
Beautiful.
I've had a rough
Taste.
week, and so I drank maybe more than I should have for having guests on.
It's a record for the show. I love it.
No,
I
hold on. However, there's a reason for that. I hopefully Ben and Gabrielle will appreciate this. Passover is a night where you tell this super somber story, right? And you have 4 cups of wine.
Yeah.
But also, generally, the adults are also drinking like a cocktail while they're drinking these glasses of wine. It's a hard drinking holiday, y'all.
The one real tradition of my family Seder, when my mother's mother was visiting, she would always get so drunk that she would knock over a wine glass, like, every single time.
Was it Elijah's glass?
Well, I mean, it might as well have been. Like we needed an extra wine glass just for her to knock over.
So, and on top of those 4 glasses of wine, I would always send my daughter out front to look for Elijah, and then slam back a glass, and then run to the front back, like, "Oh, there's Elijah." And then
I think he was right when he said bottle,
Santa
not
for her.
glass.
That's
And
your
then-
version.
Yeah, see.
And
Yeah.
then I can eat all the gefilte fish because my tastes are shot.
Gross.
It's you know what? It's actually not that bad. Like,
Most
it really
fish
isn't.
I find gross. Yeah,
That's fair.
I'm not a fish guy for the
Well,
moment.
gefilte fish is barely fish, so there's that.
I feel
okay.
I feel that
I'll give it another try.
I feel that we could definitely keep going for another 3 hours and play this whole thing and have a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun getting to know you guys, which has been, in my opinion, one of the better aspects of this game. Is like, it's like genuinely feels like a bonding and ritual experience. People of many religious persuasions, Satanists included, like, that's a big part of being a religious person or a member of a religious community, is celebrating with other people, getting to know them, sharing troubles, sharing triumphs, all that stuff. And this game has got all of that. And as both Pashki and I have amply demonstrated, it's a chance to teach your dumbass Gentile friends a tiny bit about the glorious legacy of 6,000 years of Judaism, because they probably don't know shit. And
I don't.
And I'm an abnormally well-educated Gentile on this stuff, and even I learned stuff tonight. So,
I think it'll be a lot of fun. I will definitely be playing this for my next Seder. I'm going to maybe buy a second copy to give my rabbi because I think he's a gamer and he'll love it. But I think that there's another perspective we haven't mentioned. Children don't like Passover. They hate Passover because it's an hour and a half of sitting and looking at food while adults get drunk and tell boring stories. And this is a really fascinating way, and we didn't get as far as we could. We didn't cover the 4 questions. I don't even know if that's in this, but
there's on them at the end. Yeah,
lovely. But this is a really fun way to make it interactive for people that don't always get to be interactive, which I think is super important. I had a blast.
Me too.
And I had a really bad day. Like,
You did.
I spent the first half of the day in the ER. Like, it's been a rough one. And so to be able to come on with my friends and new friends and laugh to the point where I can't breathe. But also have these super serious moments, right? Super meaningful moments where talking about Aaron's reaction to seeing his mother cry, for instance.
Yeah.
That's adding something to the Passover Seder that we don't normally get. We always talk about these big overarching themes and really painful themes. But this game forces us to see them as individuals, which makes it much more personal. Yeah. And I think that's really super beautiful. I've had a blast. I'm so I've already backed this game, y'all. So if you haven't and you're interested, please go back and it's on Kickstarter. We'll put the links everywhere we can. And
In post is on our Twitter.
Yep.
We have that available on our Instagram as well.
Yeah.
I know that Ian's got it up on our Facebook. And I think we should let our 2 guests let us know how people can support this project, what else they're up to, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I just like to begin by saying that we're kind of been doing the last ritual halal, a toast, where people say a something they've appreciated about the game and then can say a wish about the future. I think we've been doing that, and my wish is just for anyone who is able to or to come support the project, and just be kind and have a even after this is done, just I hope that we can approach Jewish gaming in general with a more playful and broad perspective that brings out these stories, right? And in new and different ways that we can look at them. And I'd like to, Gabrielle, would you like to read the ending text of Halal? Or I could do it.
Do you have it open? Then you should just.
I have it open. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for coming and adding your voice to the story of Passover. Gabrielle, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful way to end it, Ben. This was such an amazing experience. Thank you so much for having us on this show. Every single time we play this game, it's different, right? Because we're with different people.
Very different.
And that's what I love about it. But every time we have those laughing moments, those serious moments, that mix has been what an amazing experience to share with you all. This is our big project going on right now. Ben and I both are on itch. If we don't already have the links, we can give them to you. We have other games that we make not together as well. But yeah, this is just such an the reception we've gotten to this game, and the fact that it's funded almost all of its stretch goals on Kickstarter is really something to be proud of. I think not just for the 2 of us, but for these kinds of games that come out of specific cultural traditions, and seeing that there's room for them. So my wish is that other people write their own games from their own cultural perspectives, whether that's a religion or not. So that I can read them and I can play them and I can learn about your own experiences.
Yeah, even if it's just a game about what's in your refrigerator, I think that would be so cool. Anything.
Yeah, that's like our specific mission here. We love to support exactly those kind of games. The weirder and more outdoor or less you're heard from, the better. And so if you at home are listening to this and have a game that you would like us to test play live on the air, you can either DM us on Twitter, and you can find us there at WanMoncast, WANMONCAST. You can reach out to us via wanmoncast.com, which is where you can find kind of the great wandering monster compendium of like host profiles and like email addresses and socials and stuff. So that's all good. And yeah, John, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll write us out.
Cool.
So, real quick, we're not playtesting this, but I do want to mention Kalimba is on Kickstarter right now. It is a African specific like African mythology, African culture specific tabletop role-playing game. Since we're talking about these other cultures, we do have we have a couple of Jewish TTRPGs in the works at at Madness Heart Games. As Charles mentioned, onemon.cast has all of our links, all of our bios, all of the stuff we do. And we have new books coming out from Madness Heart Press all the time. And I already mentioned my game during interlude, or not my game. 4 cups, y'all. 4 cups.
Yeah, I counted 6 too.
You know what? Friends, thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey we call Wandering Monster. This has been truly a fantastic, wonderful night. And we want to thank Gabrielle and Ben so much for joining us and helping us have just a blast with some of you guys near and dear to my heart, and wonderful to share with my friends, the Charleses. So thank you all so much for that. We will be back next week. Ian will be back as well, in case you missed his face, which I know all of us have.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week. Until then, stay safe and don't be scared. It's gonna be all right. We love you. Have a great night.
Yeah.